Afternoon, ma'am.
Afternoon, officer.
Beautiful car you got here. Rolls-Royce, huh?
Yes, sir. Just filling up.
Mind telling me how you afford something like this?
I don't see how that's any of your business.
Humor me. Cars like this usually belong to folks who don't pump their own gas.
I'm a judge, officer. Worked a long time for it.
Give me the keys. Now. The voice was loud. Officer Richard Harlow stood over a single woman. I said, hand over the keys. The woman, standing beside a Rolls-Royce, froze. Her hands slowly drifted away from the gas pump. Her name was Mariah Lawson. She was black. She wore a crisp white blouse and navy skirt. Her posture was calm. Behind Mariah, the gas pump hissed softly. No one moved. Officer Harlow didn't wait. He reached for Mariah's door handle. Don't even think about moving that car, he spat. You got no right to drive something like this. Prove this thing's yours or we tow it. Mariah's voice was quiet, firm. It's mine, she said. There was no anger, no shouting, just a soft statement. Harlow's lips curled into a sneer. A rich black woman, huh? Probably no proof. Probably stolen. Now step aside. The world slowed. Mariah stood frozen, her heart pounding. She glanced around. People in the pickup truck were watching. A mother with her child inside the convenience store peeked out. One man across the lot shifted uneasily. But no one moved. A heavy silence. Before we continue, smash that subscribe button right now. Drop a comment below telling us where you're watching from. Mariah stayed still. She didn't fight. She didn't yell. She stayed calm. Inside her mind, a memory flickered back. It was 1999. Hot summer sun in Baghdad. She was Captain Mariah Lawson then, plates heavy on her shoulders. Her boots dusty. Sweat on her brow. She remembered the explosion. The sharp sound. The flash. The pain. The fear in a child's eyes. The torn concrete beneath her knees. And then, the surge of purpose. She rescued the child. She carried him to safety. She stayed calm. She followed orders. She saved lives. And after the war came the years of study. The long nights in law school. She poured herself into books. She studied justice. She fought racism in every courtroom, in every case. She won. Then she became a judge. A good one. A fair one. A quiet one. She didn't seek power. She only sought truth. That luxury car was hers, paid for with honest work, sweat, time, respect. Still, in this moment, none of that mattered. Harlow didn't care. The man saw only what he wanted. A black woman, a fancy car, a story that fit his prejudice. He believed what he assumed. He strolled around her car. He brushed his hand over the chrome door handle like it was some prize he was inspecting. You know, he muttered, somebody saw a car like this stolen near town last week. Guess you're driving it now. Funny how that works. Mariah's face remained calm. But inside pain bit hard. Shame. Anger. She looked at him. She didn't flinch. I bought it, she said softly. Harlow laughed. Gravel in his voice. Bought it? Right. Prove it. He turned and called over his radio. Got a luxury vehicle here. Might be hot. Towing needed. At that moment, the pump nozzle slipped from its cradle. Gas spilled faintly onto the concrete. It hissed in the dry heat. The smell of fuel flushed the air. Mariah stared straight ahead. Not at the cop. Not at the passing cars. She looked at nothing, just held still. The silence grew heavy and wrong. Bystanders shifted. Some took one step back. Then, a young man, maybe 19, stuttered. He looked at Harlow. Looked at Mariah. You sure you can't drive? He asked the cop quietly. The officer's head whipped toward him. Shut up, kid. You don't know what you saw. Stay out of this. The kid nodded, but didn't move. Mariah remained quiet. Her chest rose slowly, steady breathing. She was calm, but inside every nerve pulsed. The car behind her, the Rolls, was gleaming. Cling. Expensive. Like a badge. But here in this moment, it did nothing but mark her as a target. Harlow stepped back. Walked to the front of the car. Placed a paper ticket on the windshield. Towed. We'll find out if this ride is legit. You can't just, began Mariah. But he cut her off. Save the talk for the judge when you're in court. Then Harlow turned and walked away, into the convenience store. Maybe to grab a coffee. Maybe to call for backup. Mariah stood. Alone. No proof asked. No ID demanded. Just assumptions, hate, power. She picked up the keys from the pump island, walked slowly to the front corner of the car. Her legs felt like lead. Her throat felt tight. She stood in line of sight of the men in the pickup truck. Only 2 cars in the station now. The hissing of the pump soft, quiet. She opened her door. She sat. She closed it. Then she turned off the ignition. She sat in silence. Heat pressed on the windows. The engine cooled slowly. She sat there waiting. Waiting. Harlow came back out. 2 more officers with him. Their faces blank. Their eyes cold. "Get out of the car, ma'am," one said. Mariah didn't move. "You heard me." The second officer barked. Mariah's voice was calm. "I am Judge Mariah Lawson, U.S. District Court, Southern District of Oklahoma." Silence. The officers froze. Their mouths opened, then closed. Their eyes darted to each other. The first one stuttered. "Judge." "Judge?" he asked. Mariah nodded slowly. "I pass background checks. I have a badge. A court ID. I have records. Everything you need." But the first officer didn't reach for the ID. He didn't move. The second officer cleared his throat. "All right, ma'am. Let's see that badge." Mariah exhaled. She reached calmly into the inside pocket of her jacket. She pulled out a thick wallet. She flipped it open slowly. Inside was the ID card, federal seal. Her name. Her photo. The officers stood still, stiff. Their faces changed. From anger, to shock, to embarrassment. But still no apology. Never an apology. Mariah closed the wallet and tucked it back. She looked at them cool. Collected. Then she spoke, quiet voice. "You just tried to steal my dignity. That stops now." She opened the car door and stepped out, tall, graceful, powerful. No one moved. Her skirt swayed gently in the hot wind. Her blouse crisp on her shoulders. The sun glared off her car. The bystanders, the man in the pickup truck, the kid, the mother and child at the store. The others, they stared. Their faces pale. Mariah walked around the front of the car, slowly, methodically, not angry, not loud, but filled with a quiet power that pressed heavy in the air. Then she climbed back in. Ignition. The engine roared softly. Tires turned. The car rolled forward. Engine quieted. She drove past the first officer. Their eyes met. For one split second. Then she was gone. The gas pump still hissed faintly behind her. That's when the first officer whispered, as if afraid, "She's a judge." And something in the air changed. Mariah Lawson didn't sleep that night. She kept replaying the scene at the gas station. The stares, the assumptions, the cold words. "Give me the keys. Now. You got no right to drive something like this. Probably stolen." Those words didn't just sting. They carved deep into old wounds, wounds she hid under her strong, calm voice, under her judge's robe, under her quiet dignity. She sat on her couch, fingers pressed together. Her Rolls-Royce keys on the table. Her court ID beside them. She remembered walking off that gas station lot. The thick tension, the silence, the fear she saw in 3 police officers' eyes after realizing who she was. Normally she'd let it go. She was used to prejudice. She faced it her whole life. But this time, something was different. They tried to rip her dignity away. They tried to strip her humanity in public. They tried to treat her like a criminal for simply existing. She breathed in deep. She had spent decades fighting for justice. This time she would fight for herself. And the world would hear her. Every single word. The next morning, 9:21 a.m. The Tulsa County Courthouse buzzed with noise. Lawyers hurried through the halls. Phones rang. Footsteps echoed. But a storm was about to hit the building, one that no one saw coming. Mariah walked in wearing a dark navy suit, her black hair neatly tied back. Her face calm but strong. She moved with silent purpose. Judge Morris Engram, her mentor, a broad-shouldered white man in his late 60s with silver hair, stepped out of his office when he saw her. "Mariah?" he asked gently. "You okay?" She handed him a flash drive. He plugged it into his computer. Up popped the police body cam footage the world had not yet seen. The gas station. Officer Harlow yelling. The mocking tone. His hand hovering near his holster. The way he walked around her car like inspecting stolen merchandise. Her quiet dignity as she revealed her identity. Judge Engram's jaw tightened. "This," he whispered, "is going to burn the whole city down." Mariah didn't smile. She didn't want revenge. She wanted truth. She wanted justice. She wanted healing. "Release it," she said. "You're sure?" he asked. "Yes." 11:07 a.m., 2 hours later. The footage hit the internet. And the world exploded. Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, news channels. Every platform lit up like a wildfire. Hashtag Judge Lawson, hashtag gas station profiling, hashtag Rolls-Royce incident. Millions of views in hours. Then tens of millions. Then more. People watched the officer shout at a calm woman. They watched him accuse her, mock her, belittle her, threaten to tow her car. They watched her remain calm, even when he refused to believe she was a judge. The world reacted. And it wasn't quiet. She's a judge. Fire him now. This is racism in 4K. This is why we fight. The comments roared with anger, pain, truth, and fire. Within hours, news trucks surrounded the Tulsa Police Department headquarters. Crowds gathered. Signs went up. Justice for Judge Lawson. Stop racial profiling. Enough is enough. The air vibrated with anger. With unity. With voices rising like thunder. Inside the station, chaos unfolded. The police chief, a tall, stiff man named Chief Warren Dunley, stormed around his office. He slammed the door. He yelled at the internal affairs team. He barked orders. But it was too late. The whole world saw the truth, unedited, raw, shameful. The whole world saw one man's hate. The whole world saw a system's failure. By 5 p.m., Officer Richard Harlow was fired. By 6:30 p.m., he was arrested for misconduct and assault under color of law. By 8 p.m., the district attorney announced a federal review. Harlow's face was on every screen in America, humiliated, terrified, exposed. Instant karma. Swift justice. Full collapse. And all he could say to cameras when reporters caught him leaving custody was, "I didn't know. I didn't know she was a judge." The world froze. Then exploded. Because that sentence revealed everything. If she wasn't a judge, would he still have done it? Would he have arrested her? Hurt her? Fired shots? People asked the hard questions. The ones that cut. 3 days later, federal courthouse press conference. Mariah Lawson stood behind a podium, cameras pointed at her like glowing eyes. Reporters filled the room. Microphones crowded the air. Lights flashed. The world watched. Mariah didn't shake. Her voice calm, smooth, simple. 3 days ago, I was treated like a thief, she began. I was disrespected, accused, threatened, and mocked. Flash, flash, flash. Not because of my actions. Not because of suspicion. But because of my skin. Her eyes didn't blink. And this time, silence is not an option. She looked down at her notes, then closed the folder. She didn't need a script. I am filing a $10.5 million lawsuit against the Tulsa Police Department for racial profiling, unlawful harassment, public humiliation, and abuse of power. The room gasped. Pens dropped. Cameras clicked like a storm. But this is not about money. She looked straight into the cameras. This is about truth. This is about dignity. This is about every black man and woman who can't defend themselves. This is about our children who deserve to live without fear. She paused. A deep breath. And this is only the beginning. The room erupted. Reporters shouted, "Judge Lawson! Judge Lawson! Over here! What do you want the officer to learn? What does justice look like to you? What do you want America to hear?" Mariah stepped close to the mic. Her eyes soft, but unwavering. "I want America to learn," she said quietly, "that respect should not depend on who you are, but on who we all are." Silence fell. A heavy, emotional silence. She turned, walked off stage. Not a single sound followed her. The room held its breath. A small crowd held candles on her street. Neighbors, strangers, friends, children, veterans, people she defended in court. They gathered in quiet support. They sang. They prayed. They cried. Mariah stepped outside, surprised. A young girl, maybe 8 years old, walked up to her with a small handmade sign that read, "You make us proud." Mariah knelt down. The girl whispered, "I want to be brave, like you." Mariah's heart trembled. Her eyes warmed. She placed her hand gently over the girl's. "You already are," she said softly. And that moment, that quiet moment, was the healing she didn't know she needed. Not the lawsuit. Not the cameras. Not the apology the department finally emailed. But this, one small child seeing her worth when others tried to erase it. Mariah rose and looked out at the crowd. The candles flickered like tiny stars on earth. Warm, bright, hopeful. People began clapping, slow at first, then louder. Mariah felt something lift. Not revenge. Not victory. But peace. She stood tall under the soft night sky, her voice gentle but strong. "Always remember this," she said to them. Her final words of the night, Simple, sharp, unforgettable. Dignity is not given by others. Dignity is something we carry, and no one can take it away. The crowd fell silent, then erupted in applause. Mariah Lawson stepped back inside her home. Come. So. Free. She won the lawsuit months later. Harlow went to trial. The department changed policies. Kids across the state learned her story. Her courage became a symbol. But she never bragged. She never gloated. She simply lived. Quiet, steady, powerful. The way she always had. Hey family, if you felt this story all the way to your heart, make sure you subscribe to the channel right now. And tell me in the comments, if you were in Mariah's shoes, what would you have done? I'll be watching the comments. Let's talk.